Well, hello and welcome to our training session today. And today we're going to be looking at searching for data within Sage CRM. This is just the third lesson within the cycle that is making up our Sage CRM fundamentals training. And we're going to be looking today at specifically at the idea of how a user can search for records using different criteria, and how keywords can be used to allow us to search to find data across not just a single entity, but multiple entities at the same time. Now, I know that not everyone can attend these live sessions, and so we make available sessions as recorded sessions up on the Sage Training and Support YouTube channel. And you can see there it is youtube.com/@ Sage Support, and you'll be able to find that we've got a dedicated lesson or course within the channel for the Sage CRM user fundamentals. All of the training will be recorded and placed there for you to be able to find later on. We're going to be teaching this from the product, so I'm going to be going down into Sage CRM now, and you can see that I've just switched over and I'm going to be logging on. And here I'm going to be logging on to a demo system for Sage CRM using an example user called Susan May. She's a sales manager working in North America. And so the data that you'll see is all American and Canadian data. You can search for records in Sage CRM in a number of different ways. So you can search using a feature called Quick Find. You can use what we'll be doing in a moment, the find screens, and that allows us to search specifically on company, person, or communication data. So each entity within the system has a dedicated search screen accessed via the main menu, and then you can also carry out keyword search, and we'll be seeing how that can be used to allow you to enter in either keywords or fragments of words to locate records across multiple entities. And it will be able to be combined with the standard find feature as well. We'll also see in this lesson how saved searches can be used to create or apply predefined filters for frequently accessed subsets of data. Now, there is another way of searching as well, which is known as the advanced find, and we'll be looking at that in another lesson for structured or saved criteria with very complex filters or criteria that we want to use. So what I'm doing is I'm going up into the main menu and I'm choosing here from the find menu. Now, we're only really going to be looking at 3 topics within the whole search idea within Sage CRM. So we're going to be looking at idea of the core entity find. We're going to be looking at the idea of the criteria using keyword searches and then saved searches as well. Our next lesson will look at the advanced find, and we have other lessons that look at the specific quick find as well. So we're dealing with the find screens, keyword searches, and saved searches today. And here you can see I'm looking at the find screen for the company. And you can see that there are a number of different areas on the screen that we're looking at. So you've got the box that contains the idea where you'd enter in a keyword, which would search across the different fields contained within the entity. The particular criteria fields that the system administrator has determined to include onto the find screen. This is something that is configurable. And you can also see that there is the box where the saved searches are defined and held. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start filtering down on any of these fields that we've got on the screen. So that could be the company name, it could be, in this particular context, the city, etc. Now, it is important to note that the fields on the screen are determined by the system administrator, and it is also uh, down to the system administrator to be able to determine the uh, ability to make a field mandatory or not. The Just as an aside to somebody who has put a comment in here that certainly, thank you very much, Marius, on that. Yes, so I've done a check that the transcript is working fine and you should be able to hear me. Um, so we've got here our screen. I want to make sure that I put in any criteria that you want. The system administrator can make this screen any particular field a mandatory field as well. There's a technique that the system administrator can use, and that can have an effect on the experience that you have within the find screen. At the moment, my screen doesn't have any limitations on that. If I just click the find, I've not put any criteria in here, and it's returning now all of the records in the entity that I can see as a user. So this is all of the records within this particular entity, which is company, that I have permission to see. So this is essentially a subset of all of the data within inside CRM that my security rights allow me to view. Now, also underneath here, I have a grid that contains the results, and the system administrator can decide which columns are displayed in the results grid, and they may also configure the results to be ordered by certain picked columns. So everything that you see here is something that could be very different in a customer implementation, a specific implementation. The columns, the order of the columns, whether they are orderable in the results grid, etc. Now, if I want to clear everything and reset the search, I can click the clear button, which is up on the top right of the screen. So I'm just going to do that. And you can see that I've cleared out my screen, and now I can set some criteria. And I'm going to use here a selection list and also some text. So what you can see is that I've used the type selection list to identify for prospects, and I've also put in a value here for the company name, which is America. Now, I've put two criteria in, and all of the criteria here are and searches. So the more criteria that you put in, the more restrictive the search becomes. So both of these conditions will apply. I will find companies with America in their name, or rather at the start of their name, and they must be of type prospects to be able to be returned. So this is returned all companies of type prospect that have names that begin with America. Now you can see that we've got America Legal, American Gauge. So and a wildcard has been automatically appended. And we can also use deliberately a wildcard as well. And so if I come onto this screen, you can see here, I've cleared it out again. And what I'm going to do is just put in a different value. You'll notice here that I'm looking for prospects again, but this time I've chosen to use a percent symbol in the company name, and I'm looking for bank as well. And now, if I click the find button, you'll see that both conditions are allowed. It's finding any of those companies that have bank anywhere in their names. So this has shown you how the wildcard can be used. Now, the percent symbol is the only allowed wildcard that we can use in Sage CRM. This is because um, some of the wildcards that you might expect in other systems are very often used in data fields themselves, so they become impossible to be able to use within the data. But we use the percent symbol as our wildcard. Now I'm just going to change screens to look at another fine screen, and I've come over here onto the communication. Um, we can come over here to look at the communication screen, so we can look at details of calls, meetings, correspondence that has been entered into Sage CRM. This is the communication find screen. Now, you'll notice that this is a different type of search criteria because it's a date field, and the date field then allows for different types of searches, either a date range, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a relative search or for communications that have been entered in recently. So I'm looking for communications that have been entered recently, and I've changed that screen to look for communications that have taken place in the previous month. So if I search now, you can see that this has returned 67 records. These are all of the communications that I can see, either I have created or that they are in companies and persons that I have permission to see. So they are something that I have rights to view. But I want to narrow this search down further. I might be very interested in training, for example. So I want to find records about training. Now, I could search in the individual fields. You can see that I could type in the word training either with the percent training to see whether it appears at the beginning or somewhere in the subject or the details. I don't need to ever add a percent at the end of that because it's always wildcard appended. So I could drop in the word training, percent training into any of those fields to see if I could find them. But actually, I want to be able to, I don't know which field the word training might appear in. And so I might want to put it into the keyword search. And so here, if I put training up into the keyword search, it's going to look across all of the fields associated with this entity. So it's looking at all of the defined fields for this entity. And this narrows the search down when I click find now to 13 records that discuss something somewhere in their communications around the word training. So, and now you can see that I'm using the keywords in addition to other criteria when searching for company, persons, communications, etc. So becoming fuzzier in my search, but allowing it to still be quite as restrictive as I'd like to narrow down and find the specific information that I'm interested in. Now, I can also do this idea of a fuzzy search or a keyword search across multiple entities at the same time. So here you can see I've come specifically into the keyword search screen. And now this screen allows you as a user to search across multiple entities. And imagine that I have been left a message to call my manager about the Seattle training. And well, I don't know what my manager means by Seattle training. Does she mean a company called Seattle Training? Does she mean a training event that has happened in the past or a communication about Seattle training? Or perhaps a customer has placed an order, a customer that's based in Seattle for a training course? I need to find out what this could mean. And so Um, Here, I could go ahead and I could choose to actually do that. So if I put in Seattle training, I've put two words in here, and it's going to find those two words and find all those that have those two words anywhere across the different structures that I'm interested in. Now, the searches are, and all searches in Sage CRM are case insensitive. So it really doesn't matter whether I put lowercase or uppercase. I need to pick, however, which types of record that I'm interested in. Now, I don't know whether this is going to be an issue that has been discussed in a customer service request. So a case. I don't know if it's an opportunity. I don't know whether an order has been placed. My manager has just given me this challenge to talk to them about Seattle training. And so I'm going to mark everything as a potential possibility. And so I'm now going to run that by clicking the Find button. And here you can see that I've actually, across the thousands of records in my CRM system, I've found two quotes and two communications that satisfy the search criteria. I can go down and have a look at what those records are. Now, I'm going to go back into one of the standard find screens. I want to show you how things work as you move around the system. So if I'm going to go back, I've switched back into the company find screen. And what you'll see is that that previous search that I carried out has been preserved. Now that search is preserved while I'm in this current CRM session. If I was to log off and come back in, it would be lost. But I want to look at that idea of preserving a search. And to do that, I'm going to clear everything down, and I'm now going to create a brand new search, this time looking for something that I might want to find on a regular basis. I may want to find active companies. And so I'm going to here choose my active companies, customers that are, sorry, companies of status, that they are companies of status active. And if I put those criteria in, I can go and find those. And we know that this search will persist so long as I'm in the session until I click clear. But if I want this to be available to me next time I log on, then I can create a saved search. Now, on the screen, just above the Find menu, just above where it says Find, there is the plus symbol next to the saved search, or no, and if I click the plus symbol there, I'm able to pop open a saved search naming box, and I can save this particular result set as a saved search. Now, this is a dynamic thing. It is not creating a snapshot of the records. It's not a fixed group of records. This is a dynamic query. So it might be that 141 companies are being found today, but tomorrow it might find 143 or 120, depending on how the criteria changes, the data changes to match the criteria. So I'm going to save this, and you can see that the search has now been saved, and it's going to be here for me next time I log on. Okay, so we've covered quite a lot of information there just about searching, and let's remind ourselves of what we've seen. So we've looked at how we can use find screens in Sage CRM. Find screens let you search for records within a single entity, so company, person, communication. And by the way, that will extend off to any of the custom entities that may have been added into your system. Each screen includes specific fields relevant for the entity. They may change very much depending on how the system administrator configures your screen. It is just a couple of clicks to do that. These filters, such as text, date, and drop downs, narrow your search, and they are additive. So they are all and, so become much more restrictive. The more information you put into a find screen, the fewer results you will have as a result of the search. And find will return the matching records into a list or a grid view. And the fields that are contained in the grid view, again, are under the control of the system administrator. We can use wildcards. The percent symbol is the only supported symbol for a wildcard, but it does match 0 or more characters. And so the examples that we can use here is that JO% will in a search for a name will match John, Jordan, Joanne. And if you have percent SON, that will match Johnson, Emerson, etc. And if you ever put in a underscore, which would be normally allowed within inside a SQL type query, actually here it's treated as a literal character, not as a wildcard. So don't use underscores as wildcards. We've seen how we can use keyword searches. So keyword search box can search across multiple fields within a single entity. If you're in the standard find screen, it will use contains logic by default. The fields that are included in the keyword search are defined in screen customization. So you can go back and system administrator can exactly control exactly what fields are included. But the saved search the keyword search is always case insensitive. You could use a percent wildcard, but actually here you can search also across multiple entities all at once. It is different from the quick find, which uses something called a full text search across entities. It's a different search mechanism that's used, but that's discussed in another lesson. What we can do as well is we can save our searches. Any of the find screens, we have the ability each user to be able to find something that is suitable for them. And they can also, if they have sufficient rights, to be able to create a saved search that is applicable for all users as well. So users of type info manager or users of type system administrator can create saved searches that all users can access. So saved searches allow individual users to store and reuse frequently used search filters as well. And they can be unique to each individual user. This lesson has been recorded. This lesson will be edited and then be added to all of the other lessons within the series. As you can see, you can follow the links. And what we're going to be looking at tomorrow in our lunchtime is going to be looking at the idea of building advanced finds. And this is an idea that is used not just inside the search screens themselves, but when we come on to creating groups and reports. It's a feature that once you know how to do that, you'll be able to create much more powerful reports and groups as well. Let's see if anyone has got any questions after that. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson. Bye-bye.